What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you again for joining the live stream Stock and Talk Sunday evening with your wonderful Ken here at the Dyslexic Investor again. Today, it's been a wonderful, quiet weekend for me here. Looking forward to having people join here. I saw Ryan already was an early bird. He joined in quite fast. We're going to be talking some stocks. I recently just got a video pushed out talking about some pretty big particular earnings that are coming out this week. Looking at some potential moves going back and forth. A couple of the ones that we highlighted were like GameStop, we had Lulu, we had Adobe, Thor, which is like the RV company, not Thor, the character from the Marvel universe. Lewis, hey, what's up, man? Yo, what's up? Yeah, again, so basically we can go ahead. Once we get some more people coming through, I usually give it 2 or 3 minutes. What we'll do is, what's up, guys? Hey. Looking for giving like an overall market analysis. Currently, the futures are up a hair, like 0.3%. Looking for seeing what's going to happen for some action. They didn't open up crazy down. We didn't get any other more crazy data about the virus going so forth. And it seems like some businesses are picking up and continue to grind higher. Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate that. Alan, what's up, investors? What up, traders? You can call me Vincent. Okay, Vincent. Okay. Going to be a wild week. It could be a wild week. I think so. Bullish on SPY. Dumb. I can't. I want to call you DS. Okay. DS. We don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Hertz and Airlines. Yes, we're going to cover some Hertz and Airlines for sure. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to get my wonderful clip art design that I do. Hopefully, hit that like button, guys, if you guys love my tile work, or my thumbnail work. Tile work. I'm not a masonry. Anyways, all right. So you should be able to see my chart now. We're looking here at the ES/ES. These are the futures here. Again, we are up just a hair. Again, 9 points. Again, that is substantial during normal times, and this is like it's nothing right now. The only thing, so a lot of people are saying if we're going to be coming down for a market correction or something else that's going to happen tonight, or something's going to happen this week or whatever. The only thing I am concerned about right now is you can see this is a daily chart of the futures. You can see here that the squeeze, which is the TTM squeeze from John Carter, is still on the teal color. So that means there's still some momentum and strength going forth. And you can see that on the representation on the chart with the 5 and 8 exponential moving average. Still, the ticks are still within that range. I'm not sure why my screen keeps on flickering here. Actually, let's just do it here on SPY so it doesn't do that annoying flickering here. I think it's just constantly updating here. I apologize for that. All right, so you can see here on SPY kind of the overall example. So on Thursday onto Friday, we had a huge gap up. That we had that same gap up a couple weeks ago as well, and we just continue pushing higher. That was the kind of the gap and the momentum that we needed to get through the 200. Now we are pretty far from that level. We pretty highly gapped above the 5 and 8 and 21. The parabolic SAR is still pretty loaded here. We can see that the RSI down here is at, let's see here, it's like at 75 plus. If that hits like 80 on a daily chart, that could be not the only reason for a pullback, but once these teal bars right here start turning like the darker blue, that means the momentum's starting to come down. And if we see a switch in the purple dots switch to the top of this chart, and then you start seeing the 5 and 8 start not jet setting higher, but like starting to kind of curl over and potentially looking down towards the ground. I'm trying to see if I can see an example of that, because the S&P 500 has not hit that kind of levels in quite some time, and I don't have here we have 5 year. So there's one time where we hit that red level, that was in Oh, I just went too far in. This is the beginning of 2018, that February, where we had all those tax credits, all those new business loans, and all those people were able to, when Trump implemented all these different taxations for corporations, lowering corporate tax and things like that. For the end of 17 to 20, into 2017 into 2018, it was just a monster run. But once we switched, and you saw the switch happen fairly fast, we had gap down for one day. You see that the teal blue TTM squeeze kind of turned darker blue, and then you saw a lot of overreadings. The first initial top marker of RSI doesn't mean that it is going to break at that point. Other things need to follow. So if the ticks are still above the 5 and 8, it's still a go for higher momentum. That's what I usually try to circle it around. So that being said, I don't see a potential gap down. Again, anything can happen, but as of right now, we are really strong, looking very positive. Again, anything can happen, no crystal ball here, but just being mindful of watching these moving averages here on the daily chart, seeing where the chart closes, and being mindful of these other different various volume indicators down here below as well. So that's basically my overview on the market here. Again, looking for, again, if it does come down, the 21 is going to be kind of our saving grace there as well. For going higher, it's going to be basically, we're pretty close to all-time highs. I had a number at on the SPY of 330. I don't know why that went away. So that was a potential higher high there. Looking for that. Yeah, the futures can move around. Again, it's not going to be heavy volume. You're going to see a lot more movement in the futures around 4. I think it's 2 or 4 o'clock. Whenever Japan opens up their markets, you'll see an influx of a lot of rotation and things like that. All right, let's go ahead. If you have any questions, we can go look at airlines as well. I saw a couple things coming through for Hertz. Again, that's been one that's been on everyone's tongue of looking at potential rebound. Is it going to be getting out of bankruptcy? Again, I'm not at all a bankruptcy expert at all. Let's be completely honest with that. I don't know if the stock can move to, let's say, if it moves to $15, does it mean it's going to get out of bankruptcy? I don't know the answer to that. I know they filed. I know that it takes time to do a bankruptcy. Doesn't mean that the company is completely going to go under. It's just a restructuring of debt, selling assets, and basically cutting the fat, in lack of better words, and might be selling off some of its business. I don't know. But yes, that's what we're looking at there for the fundamental side. On the charts, again, you guys saw the video most likely, we went up 825% in basically in a week. Is that considered a dead cat bounce? Maybe. But what the dead cat bounce means is it potentially is just a flop, or it's just a bounce that's trying to catch people off guard and then continue going lower. That being said, it's still above the 21. The 5 and 8 are trying to cross through the 21, potentially for a push higher. The momentum is still further to the downside, even though we had a nice shift in strength into Thursday, Friday. We still need the 5 and 8 to kind of cross through the 21. The parabolic SAR has switched from the top to the bottom just because we had so much momentum and volume coming through to be able to push that higher. The RSI had got revived by some shock paddles because it jumped from literally the low 30s into 50s, which is quite substantial. But everything else is still somewhat pointing down. Just being mindful of that. And you can really see that here on the weekly chart, where we're still trading well below the 5 exponential moving average on the weekly side. So we really need to push back some of these moving averages. These moving averages are trying to flatten out. If so, again, anything can happen. I wouldn't want to really play this due to the fact of there's just so many other variables that it's too scary for me to touch, lack of better words. I'm just reading through here, everything, kind of something. Carlo, BA, yeah, we can look at BA. All right, so this one, as well as basically any stock in the market, the last week went to new high, or not new highs, but just went to the skies and literally took off. And a lot of things, I think, with correct me if I'm wrong, Carlo, that BA has still not announced yet anything about the Max 8 or 9 being flight capable, and they fixed the overall programming and sensors with the stability and stall control system. That being said, this thing has, like we talked about, it's broken through the 21. The momentum's there. It is getting really high on the RSI and the volume oscillator. That being said, I'm kind of waving that to the side because that could be an overall like scary point of this is just a totally new time. There's a lot of new money coming in. I think someone posted that. And it could be a really good strong push into 250 potentially if this momentum continues higher. But we've gapped up 2 or 3 days here. This has been an astronomical amount of volume coming to BA, so just be mindful of that. My upside limit here, looking for some upwards resistance at 250. Again, anywhere down, it's going to be at like 175, 170, and then coming in at 155 for downward support. But this thing has just been flying so high, it's not going to take too much to nick this if the overall market turns and so forth. Yeah, Ryan, there's a lot of FOMO in Hertz. That's what I should have said, honestly. Yeah, a lot of FOMO in Hertz, and it's just people think they can make a quick, easy butt. Yeah, I love my credit spreads all day, yeah. Hypro Concentrate Productions. I got my OXY calls. That's Occidental. I mean, is that Occidental? Or no. Oceanic Petroleum. Okay. You have the 25 call June 12th. So that's coming up. That's okay. You think it's gonna hit $25? Anything can happen. I'm not gonna tell you no. Let's look at this here for you real fast. I like it, honestly. It's a kind of a far out bet. You could potentially see it because it falls in right to the 38.2 percentile move from the previous swing high to swing low. Yes, it has got a lot of momentum. It just had a squeeze to push higher. RSI is really pushing high. They can be mindful of that. Again, that can print red for a couple days and continue rolling higher. This is just a first signal of a potential overbought scenario. But I think a lot of companies are going to be in this overbought territory for some time. And that being said, they could be printing red for some time because a lot of money has been on the sidelines for the last 2 or 3 months. And it's just been the Fed and some really brave hedge funds buying a lot of these dips. $60K ready for investing suggestions. I would be very mindful of that. I don't think this is a great time to start buying a lot of things for investing, honestly. That being said, I'm not buying large positions. I'm just managing. August, give us some of your plays, bro. So my plays are going to be, I'm just going to be looking to add some things. Like we have, I might want to sell some Tesla puts. I want to sell some Tesla puts probably around 21, depending on how the market is. I have some plays on, which is kind of going to be hurting me. I think this is going to go higher tomorrow. This is my opinion. Is Axon? That's the overall company that does the tasers and body cams for police. Even though the overall protest and everything has still been going on, I think that this company can still go higher. I did sell some of the $100 calls up here. That was on the day that it hit 99.2, I believe. No, actually, I sold it on this day when I hit 92, and I sold the $100 call. I was potentially going to add the 95 call, but then I was going to let it run for 2 or 3 days, and I'm glad I did, because I don't like to see red on the account. But that being said, looking for a potential, just kind of trading sideways up here, and then potentially falling off in the next week or so. That's going to be one of my major plays I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I want to add to a couple other positions that I have. Looking at some spec plays, my Disney has been doing very well. It just broke through the 200, so I'm very happy about that. We loaded up quite a bit here around the 91 to 95 range. What else have we been looking at? Waste Management. I know these are just super boring companies for my long-term play. And again, for options plays, I usually just look at the overall understanding of what's going on and what kind of it gives. This is the thing I don't like to do, and I actually learned, is I don't like to buy many options on Monday, because I think a lot of people on Monday figure out what the rest of the week's going to happen. So I'm very careful what I put on Monday, because Monday could be just a kind of a rebound of what happened on Friday, but not give a full understanding of that. I've got the 10. I got 10, 94, 8, 19. Yeah, I got mine are at least 45 to 60 days out for my calls as well. Okay, it looks like a lot of people are coming in. Thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate it, I really do. SPY opens at 400. Let's go. DS, come on, man. Come on, you're really pumping this up, aren't you? Splunk. I don't know the ticker symbol for Splunk. Can you put that in the chat? I don't know off the top of my head. Ryan, I normally don't, because they honestly confuse me. I used to trade the inverse ETF for gold. That's the only thing I've ever have been traded. I really don't honestly look at those. That's a good understanding. So usually, what he's saying is that basically particularly with options. So, for example, we can go back to let's go to like Adobe. Adobe's reporting this week, and this little box is showing that the one standard deviation move. So if a stock's really printing so high, it's really smart to the premium switches. So if the stock is printing substantially higher, like a Hertz or like an Adobe that's going into strength, you could see a potential of selling puts, because you're going to get a higher premium, or selling calls because you're going to get a higher premium. But if you want to do the inverse and play not the theta gang, you could buy the puts for a potential pullback, but they're going to be slightly cheaper because a lot of the volume and stuff is going to be happening on the call side. So if the stock's up huge, the call side is going to be more highly priced if you're not doing spreads, if you're just buying the outright strikes. Oh yes, airlines. We can look at the airlines. Let's look at work first. Who asked for work? The machine work. So work was one that kind of I think we did get out of. I can't remember. So what we did, we had a live stream when DocuSign at work came out. So we actually sold the 34 put. Yeah, so we sold the 34 put. It kind of broke through it. It closed below 21, so I had to get rid of it. It was a very short-term play. I didn't get it right. Again, it's an earnings play. I was only risking a very small percentage of the portfolio. I think I lost $30. I can lose. Yeah, that's fine. It was a very simple play for this particular trade. I kind of went against me, of course. Work gave horrible guidance, and it kind of broke through the 21. It kind of caught here a bit on the 34. I could have held it. I could have rolled it, but I didn't want to play with it. I just wanted to get rid of it because the overall bet that I had was I wanted it to beat earnings. to kind of example on the potential of selling calls or selling puts. Let's see here. What do you think about the VIX? VIX, I follow the VIX just for a gauge of the overall market and fear. I don't honestly trade it because it's just all about a timing game. Johnny, all the cash. Airlines, yes. So we can just take a quick look at Jets. I know Jets is basically the ETF that so many individuals are currently in. We have seen a enormous amount of volume coming in here the last 2 or 3 days with the overall travel opening back up. People are willing to go out and start potentially going on vacation and do other various things outside instead of just playing video games and buying their $100 yoga pants from Lululemon. I'm going to take a sip of water here. Okay, that being said, the 200 exponential moving average is going to be a lot of overhead resistance. So that's around 2285 as of close of Friday for a potential upside resistance. It still was up 5%, but it was up substantially more. But I kind of sold off because I think a lot of people were just taking profits. It has gapped up multiple days. That's my only fear here, that it's literally getting into the FOMO territory when you have so many multiple gaps ups, and the people who bought in here already sold out. The people who bought in here and here are waiting for that push up to 200, potentially even higher, to sell out. It's kind of being like a pyramid scheme of people, momentum and fear-based trading, or the fear of missing out trading. We're just going to kind of keep this up and running, the momentum going. But once that pops, it kind of just comes crashing down. Not saying it's going to happen. I just want everyone to be mindful of that, being very careful with that. Don't be chasing it. Like, if you're in this, you're doing great. You did a smart move. You bought it around the 21 potentially, or when it kind of held the 5 and 8 and started going higher. I can't tell you to buy this now. It's just been too much of a run, potentially for a pullback to 17. If you really want to trade it and you're feeling juicy, go for it. But the 21 is going to be like my limit if I wanted to add or create a new position into this. Yeah, hot potato. Exactly, Roberts. Hot potato. He's funny saying Jets puts. You're funny. That's funny. I don't like. I hate to give recommendations, but this is one that I would be interesting to look at, and I want to see what the volume comes in Monday, because I want to see on. I don't trade. I trade the charts, and then I trade on the emotions of what other people do, and I usually take the contrarian bet. Sometimes I'm extremely right, sometimes I am wrong. That being said, I like to take the contrarian bet, so potentially this could slow down in the next couple of days. Good luck, new investors with FOMOs, yes. No, we can do DraftKings, car, roll, DKNG. So this is actually one that we did trade. So when we did the video, we're discussing of DraftKings looking for a potential push higher. I think we got in around 39 or 40, and we had a nice pump up, and we got out about 42 or 43, and it was on the 2 days in. So it was this day, I believe, here, beginning of last week, we got out. Just because we just saw a lot more volume coming in, and we just took that opportunity for potential, just getting out of. I like to sell when there's a lot of people buying, because it just gives me enough liquidity to get out and get my options filled and so forth. It is just trading sideways, so there's nothing too concerning yet, because this thing was just hot off the press. When it was released, everyone just bought into it. It has just been riding up the 5 and 8 exponential moving average literally since its inception of this company, and that is sometimes a curse and a blessing. It could be a blessing for a lot of the folks that are coming in. Then you have to be mindful of all the folks that are potentially going to sell, like all the insiders could be selling out, or different other various obstacles coming through. This has been a monstrous run, literally being 17 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, 17, and now it got up to 45. It's kind of been a huge run. Right now it's currently telling me the chart it's just going to be trading sideways, because there's nothing telling me that it's going to be going down further. The RSI has been coming off, but that is represented as well as coming back to the 8 exponential moving average. Potentially, if it breaks the 8 and the 5 and 8 start going lower, looking for the 21 to kind of come in for support around 33. But again, if it wants to go higher, it's got to break 45. So, yeah, be very mindful of that. SB, what do you think about IVR? I don't know what that one is. I don't know what they do, but it looks like a mortgage capital link. I don't know. This is just a company that holds mortgages. That sounds really boring. Looks like I don't know what happened here. I guess people thought, are these like mortgages on what kind of businesses? That being said, looking at went from 18 to 2, or on 1 to 82 actually. It has got a bounce here. Again, it went substantially higher the last 2 or 3 days due to the overall market. The 5 and 8 have crossed the 21, so the volume has been coming into here has been astronomical. Looking here in some of the past of this company, or this ETF, it looks like looking like there has been like next to zero volume, and it's just been trading sideways. So I think a lot of people are just betting that this is going to go back to 15, I'm guessing. I don't see that that is going to be something that I could say yes or no, because if everyone's betting on that's going to happen, that's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? I would rather take the contrarian bet. Potentially, this has been so much volume in here. Like the last 2 days is equal to all the volume from February for the last year. Like you can just see this astronomical amount of volume coming in here. I always say astronomical. We're talking about on average before the pandemic, it was trading 3.7 million, and then the last 2 days it traded 53 and 40 million shares. So literally the last 3 or 4 weeks it has been trading the amount that's been trading the previous year. So just be very be mindful of that. Again, there's going to be a lot of slick hands in there, and a lot of people are going to be trading this just for a quick buck because they see it at $1.82 and they want to see that $15 to $18 price target coming back in. So just be mindful of that. That's all I can really say on that one. It made a kind of a base here, kind of leveled off, kind of didn't have a heartbeat until the last 2 days. So this potentially could go higher, but with this momentum jump, it could kind of pull back a little bit, then potentially get another kick higher. Yeah, I kind of honestly agree with that, Ryan. It's been canceled due to the all larger other pretty crazy other issues that are going on. Hey Ryan, thank you for the $2. Still holding AMD calls? Yes, I am still holding diamond hands. AMD is one of the positions that I'm still holding. Yes. We can take a look at that on one just second. I wanted Jay Taylor. Yes, we did BA. BA has been super strong, Taylor, but we need to be mindful of it could potentially go up to 250 if the overall market continues going higher, but be very mindful that it has been going up the last 2 or 3 days, meaning that a pullback could be coming in, or a lot of people selling for those quick profit gains. Bob, hey, dyslexic, could you take a look at FRO? Then after that, we'll look at Ryan AMD again. FRO Frontline. This sounds familiar. Is this an oil transport company? I think I traded this before. This one's just kind of been trading very much like a wave. You can see here, nothing really too consistent. Clearly see that the 200 kind of is somewhat of support and resistance depending on what's happening. The only thing I don't like here is that we need the 5 and 8 exponential moving average here to continue to try to go higher. It did cross through the 21, which I really don't like that. It looked like it had a pretty large gap down this week, but it kind of made a rebound. We could see another V-shaped recovery like it has happened, like just trading back and forth. I'm not sure what's actually going here. This is news driven or what's going on here, but potentially just some weird action there. Not really a big fan of. I'm going to zoom out here on a weekly side, and it looks like this looks a little more, it tells me a better pattern. I do like it for a potential long play, but you have to kind of keep it on a short string. If you're getting in it to around the $8 or the $8.50 play, you got to be super mindful of potentially getting out if it gets down to these levels around $7.50 potentially. It depends on what your parameters are and what you're willing to risk or lose. I don't like to risk a lot because I like to keep my money. So, being said, if it breaks the 850 with the tick and then the overall 5 and 8 starts crossing through the 21 again, potentially first level of moving up is 850, and then looking for around 9, and then potentially trying to do a couple breaks here. We can kind of show here a quick fib here. I believe this is going to come in some pretty key numbers. Yeah, the 618 has been multiple lines of failure. The 50's kind of been somewhat attractive here, but again, that 200-day exponential moving average is going to be kind of your first level of real overhead resistance. Ryan, let's do AMD then now. AMD, if I can type. AMD. What calls do I have for AMD? I think I have the 48, 50, and 52 calls. But they're really far out. Just be mindful of that. These are not weekly options that I'm buying. I think they're probably in September or even October calls. Yeah. So AMD's kind of been blah, lack of a better words, Ryan. I'm sure you know this. The fact that it's been really trading around the 21. It has been closing below the 21, but I have been somewhat forgiving on it because the 50 days has kind of come in here for some moral support to kind of give it a hug, a kiss, to let it know, hey, we still love you, AMD. It's going to be okay. I know last year you went up 150%. Just take it easy for a couple months and then giddy up, let's go. I'm keeping this on a short leash, to be quite honest, though, too. That being said, this TTM squeeze is looking like it could fire short, which it has kind of given mixed signals before. Again, I don't have a crystal ball why it would go short, but anything can happen. Some issues could come out, whatever. Just being mindful of that. You kind of see here my stop here is around $50 if it goes below that, because it had some previous lows here. But with that $50, it has to go lower. It has to have the other moving averages. The 21 needs to start curling lower for me to really get out of it. Since the 21's been kind of just trading sideways, with the overall 5 and 8 kind of twirling around it, potentially trying to kick higher. So we kind of need to see this potentially make a move higher. Want to keep it on a very short leash. This would be, if you're not in it, could you add a very small starter position for a potential kick higher, maybe selling like the 50 or 51 put. That's what I would do, in my opinion. But again, keep it on a very short leash because this could be spooling up for a potential move lower or higher due to the fact of this TTM squeeze. It's currently signaling somewhat lower, but with the overall momentum of the market, this could be changing its direction. Matt Van Dam, I have the 17.5 call on MGM. MGM, yeah, the casinos have been fairly hot as well, moving the market again higher. MGM is one of the ones that I do like, and I actually did own the stock. Did sell. Actually, we got out of it like 2 or 3 days ago. We actually got out on this dip up here to like the $17, $18 range. We're like, okay, I'm going to take those profits. Thank you very much. That being said, I had no idea that it's going to go all the way to 200. I'm glad it did. For a lot of people, made a lot of money. Sad for the people who shorted it. It kind of hit the 200 again, then kind of start breaking lower. It really needs to break above this 200 exponential moving average. We do see that the overall market with the 5, 8, and 21 are pushing higher with the overall lines looking to get to that 21 or the 21 potentially going through the 200. That's going to be a very strong sign for potential higher highs. Again, with this overall new momentum of people just putting their stimulus checks in, or those Robinhood and Wall Street Bets guys just throwing all their any capital they have, going through their sofas, getting those couple quarters and dimes out, and just putting everything in the market for a potential kick higher. Just be very mindful of that. It's seeming very frothy in the early stages of being frothy. It's not too crazy overbought yet because you're not getting a lot of red readings here on the RSI, but just be mindful that if a snapback does happen, it could happen fairly fast, and that would be your wonderful time to get in as a long position. The old Iron Condor, yeah, I still Iron Condor sometimes. mRNA. So this is the company that we're saying that they had the cure, or they had the initial first great stuff, Moderna, for the overall virus, and their early stages were going very well. Ryan, where are you from? Where were I born and raised, or where am I from? I currently live in Virginia. So Moderna had that overall positive testing for folks doing very well with clinical trials. Now they're currently trying to raise a lot of capital. I think $1.2 billion, if I'm right, looking for a potential move higher. Again, they needed to raise that money to get the proper funding to buy all the needs once the stage 2 and 3 human trials become positive. A lot of those trials cost an astronomical amount of money, so they need that capital to run those tests, to get everything right, get the diagnostics, and then able to create the antibody or the vaccine as well. So that the pharmaceutical companies eat money through like crazy. Like the capital just gets disappeared. You're like, I thought you just had $250 million yesterday. Yeah, we bought some stuff. Yeah, we had to pay something. Yeah, to take care of business. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they burn cash. So that being said, it's literally trying to hold its breath here to kind of kick higher, but with the 5 below the 8, and then the 8 potentially crossing through the 21. So this is going to be one to be interesting to watch this week. Potentially seeing if the 8 or 5 starts crossing through the 21. Potentially seeing a overall kick to around $50 potentially for the downside. That's where it kind of bounced back there previously from the previous dip lower due to some negative press. But that being said, be mindful of that. If things kind of start looking peachy and a lot of people are buying this due to more positive data or whatsoever, potentially first line of resistance up overhead is around 66.50-ish. All right, we got a lot of folks coming in. Thank you guys everyone for joining. Let's see here. Exxon, if you could. Yes, we can do Exxon. XON. So I think these oil companies are going to get a pretty much bid. I'll be straight up with you guys. I think that this could be a potential easy. I don't like to say easy. I take that back. Can I rewind real fast? Nothing's easy, but this could be potentially looking for a 56 price target in the short term. We do see a nice gap up, but that being said, gap ups really do scare me. So we could be trading sideways or potentially waiting for the different moving averages to kind of catch up. With the overall strength in the market, we're looking at the RSI down here as well. Potentially, if this starts hitting the breaking this little white teal line, we could be seeing the red indicator coming on, meaning that it's overbought, and a lot of the algorithms don't like that. And we could see some issues coming from that, and potentially seeing a quick reversal or just trading sideways from that. So be mindful of that, my friend. Blue Boy DKS. Is that a Dick's Sporting Goods store? Yeah, I called that one. Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying here. So looking at the chart, let me look. That looks really interesting that this is coming in around the 618. Yeah, I could see that. So potentially overhead breaking is this level here, downward projecting, looking for around the 200. I'm going to call it. I like that, just slightly better. We'll do that or below. So that'd be on Dick's Sporting Goods store. Again, it has been a pretty significant movement higher, looking for again overall market being able to open store and so forth. The RSI has been fairly highly valued, but again, if this starts hitting to 80 plus, and this TTM squeeze over here from John Carter, this teal line starts turning dark blue, the momentum could start dying off, potentially getting at some stoppage around 34.50-ish. Potentially, if this 21 can kind of break through that as well, potentially a kick or for the bull case to around 41.42. Again, a lot of these stocks are going to be tied to the overall market. So if the overall market does well, they're going to be doing well just in hand with them. Ryan, oh, the AMD is in the PlayStation 5. Okay, I didn't know that. It's awesome. Could you also take a look at CMP? Oh, snap. My darn thing just, chat window just disappeared. I don't know who did CPM. Let's see here, do a quick fib here. This looks really hit around the 618. Yeah, looking for a potential kick higher to the 54 level, potentially, if it goes higher with the overall market. And then the 50% retracement, probably going to be around $50-ish for downward support there if it does start coming lower. Again, with the overall market we talked about, if usually things gap up, all this great news comes out, you have a lot of weak hands who are just getting out, selling, taking that quick buck rather than holding and investing in it. You have to be very mindful of the folks who bought down here at potentially at 37, or the folks who bought in this huge uproar here on their 2 earnings ago, bought in at $59 to $60, then saw it go crashing down within 2 or 3 weeks, and then they're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then their emotions kick in. They're like, hey, if it gets up to $55, I'm only going to lose 4 or 5%, 10% of my of the cost. I just want to get out and get done and over with. So there's going to be a lot of what we're going to be seeing with a lot of companies is that staircase higher, because there's going to be a lot of times where people are just getting out, just dumping the stock because of looking for just selling because they don't want to take those quick profits. Blue Boy, I don't know if Robinhood does fractional shares. I remember they did say that. Ryan's rich. Yeah, Ryan's a wonderful supporter. He just asks questions of. Won't be surprised if you ask me how I drink my coffee. With this report, once it's over, I missed the first hour. Yes, it's going to be posted. Big Fish Tuna. I was on the waiting for 2 years, and suddenly everyone mentioned fractional shares with Robinhood. Yeah, I'm not sure what Robinhood's doing. Michael Lee, PC. Okay, you want me to look at all these? Docu, PF, just one at a time, my friend. I can't do 13 of them. I'm not that talented. I'm gonna do Docu. I'm gonna do that one. They did that's what kind of we looked at. Again, it kind of literally closed at the lower end of their standard deviation that they had, looking for the options trading that are expiring that week. Again, it's holding the 21. If want to play this for the long side, be very mindful of it. Just be mindful if it starts breaking below the 21, meaning that the tick is closing below the 21, which is the yellow line. The parabolic SR hasn't switched. We do see the volume oscillator and RSI kind of being blah, just due to the fact of this has kind of been a stay-at-home stock, and now since everything is nothing to do with stay-at-home, this has kind of turned, and this is gonna still be a relative business, but I think this whole swing up we've seen like this, and then a company like the Zoom communication, even though it's been flying higher, they're still going to be relevant to the overall market, but it's not going to be the hot trending stock that you're going to see on your top 10 list every day like we have the last couple weeks. Don't sleep on oil stocks. Thoughts on SM Energy. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, this looks like an overall oil play as well. Again, what really stands out for me here is that previously it had a lot of issues getting to that 200. So if it ever gets back to the 200 exponential moving average, which is around $7 for you, this could be getting a lot of selling due to the fact that a lot of people, looks like they has been going down for quite some time with the overall trend, even pre the pandemic. It looks like even on the weekly chart it's been kind of just printing lower, so it looks like a lot of people might be just trading this. I don't know if this is going to be a complete turnaround story or what's going on here. Just being mindful of if it gets up to the $7, there could be a lot of pressure. Again, if it comes down, it has in the short term broken the 21 and kind of been riding it up. You see that the 21 held here and here, so potentially if it comes down again, this would be the first line of resistance, which would be around the 21 exponential moving average there. PME for your portfolio. You're welcome for your insights. Corey, you put up those likes, yeah. Ryan, you never know when those corrections come, do we? I agree. I signed up for gold. There's no benefit. It sucks when they pull money out. Yeah, I'm not sure about Robinhood and how they do things. I don't honestly recommend Robinhood. If you want to upgrade your overall trading, I use Tastyworks for my trading for that. So be mindful that you do pay for the trades. You pay for the initial trade, but that's it. Futures about to go negative. Really? Are they going negative? Yeah, again, we're going to want to see if this is going to go negative, but it can come down all the way to 31.40 really before it really gets on my radar. So be mindful of that. I made one of this is HEXO. HEXO. Yeah, I can't comment on that one, my friend. This has just been too beaten down. It's literally less than $1, so I can't. It kind of breaks my rule. I usually don't trade stocks under $3, sometimes actually $5. So just be mindful of that. It's just been a downward trend. It has earnings coming out. I really can't give too much guidance on it. It's looking like it's trying to move higher, but in the past, I don't even know what this company does. In the past, it's been just a downtrend, and potentially a couple days above the 21 that comes back down. So I can't honestly add anything to that, my friend. Vincent, when's the correction coming? I don't know. Let me go rub my crystal balls. Ryan, yeah, Warren Buffett did sell. I think he's off his game for sure. Andy, again, anything can happen in the market. Trevor, what do you mean trade deal was canceled? The phase 1 has passed. Yeah, the overall virus has been canceled. Ryan, puts on Tesla. I would sell puts on Tesla. Yeah, the second wave of the virus, it could... again, I don't think any of us know, again, no crystal ball, but with the overall people gathering in the riots and people protesting and different various things, I don't see a lot of people wearing masks or doing social distancing, so the number of cases are going to go up, I believe. But the thing is, the biggest number is the ICU beds and the hospital beds, if those are going to hit capacity or not. Any people watching this, only 32 likes. Johnny Bravo, thank you. Okay, let's see here. This chat keeps on going. Autocorrect. What up, Brian? Ricky Gervais is... I am dyslexic. I don't know if I'm autistic. I haven't got checked for that. What do you think about Ford? Ford. Yeah, I haven't looked at that for like a week or two. What are they doing over there at Ford? Building that electric Mustang. Oh boy, hot diggity dog! Look at that, boys. That thing is a move for sure. That's a beautiful move on Ford there. They got some life back in there. They put some horsepower in that, eh? I'm gonna stop with the puns. This is good. It's breaking above the 50% retracement. So if this move and this huge gap up, that's a huge gap up for Ford, needs to continue, we need to kind of stay above this, the 200-day exponential moving average there. So that's going to be around $7.23. We're just going to call it $7.20 or $7.25, and kind of hold this line. You can see potential downward support. Again, it's going to come in around the 21. So it seems really far down, but because it's jumped up so high, it's going to be something that needs to kind of... this is a totally different new market for a lot of people. Like I said at the beginning of the live stream, there's a lot of people are dumping in money to the market right now. There's literally... It's just been the Fed been really very heavy on keeping this afloat, and there's been some retail investors, majority of the hedge funds are starting to pick at the market, but there's still like $5 trillion on the sidelines that could potentially need to get into the market. All right, let's see here. I'm trying to scan through all this. This chat's going too fast for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm too slow at reading all this. MGM calls tomorrow. I wouldn't recommend that because it's just been going up so high. Maybe selling some puts. Sydney, Microsoft calls 202, 725, 724. Microsoft, we can look at Microsoft real fast. Yeah, so, okay, you're buying 202 at 7. That's, okay, I see what you're doing. I actually really like that play. That's gutsy. Because the Microsoft has been holding the 21 fairly well. So we're going to move this line up here. And it kind of has been trending sideways while everything's kind of been pushing higher, because Microsoft kind of fell in that category of like a work from home kind of stock, and what do they got? But their Azure and the Teams portfolio, the Teams, the Slack competitor, their 365 client and things like that has just been gangbusters. So we would love to see this go higher without a doubt, because it's a position here in the portfolio. But it really needs to break the 190 level. I kind of have that alert up there to potentially go higher. I do like that the parabolic SAR has just switched on Friday there for a potential kick higher. It held at 21 beautifully. It's got a squeeze setting up. RSI is trying to peak. Volume also is going to peak. This is a really good play, and this is something that I would be potentially starting off with selling some puts around the 180 to 182 level. Potentially seeing if this can go higher, or if this is going to flop with the overall market or not. Let's see here. What else we got here? Base God, DA calls worth it. What's DAL? Is that Delta? Okay. I don't know. That's a tricky one, because again, it's run up so much. Those calls are gonna have so much premium packed into it that it could just be trading sideways. It did, again, with the overall market, it took off the last 2 or 3 days, lack of better words. It's really trying to get back up to this 200 exponential moving average without a doubt, which is around 41. Not saying that those calls are going to be worth it, because I don't know when it's going to hit 41. It's really trying to hit 41. It could hit 41 tomorrow without a doubt. With all those Robinhood traders and Wall Street Bets guys going in, the overall momentum is higher, but I think with these huge gaps ups and everything like that, it kind of needs to slow down a little bit, because this has been just such a large move for all these stocks. These are just my opinions, though. Ryan, what is your thoughts on boomer stock TDG? I don't even know what this is. So we do see it's above the 200. The 5, 8, and 21 has been moving higher. It did close slightly below the 618 here, which is not terrible. We want this to kind of stay above the 492 here. So we kind of want that to happen. Potential on-site target to acquire or attack vector of 570 there. Not sure exactly what this company does, but it looks like it was doing fairly well previously to the virus. So this could potentially just kind of get back to normal. Again, be very mindful of the RSI and a lot of the momentum going higher here. VIX is jumping. What do you mean the VIX is jumping? It's up a hair. Like, the VIX honestly needs to really get above 30 to catch my attention. So I will actually put an alert on that, because the VIX just broke below 21 the last 2 or 3 days. So be mindful of that as well. It did have a squeeze and it fired short, potentially even going lower. So I think tomorrow could be a fairly large up day. And on that note, I'm gonna wait for a little bit. So this is actually, let's pull over my Tastyworks. This is what I trade my futures and options, short-term options, and I do some holdings there as well. We're gonna be I'm looking at the micro futures for S&P 500. Potentially looking to buy this for a pull higher, but we'll take a look here. We're going to wait on that as well, actually. You don't think Warren Buffett's off his game? I think Warren Buffett is being very much more cautious. It's not very much like him to sell down a very large position like that. Ryan with the coffee. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I really do. Let's see here. Okay, this is the chat's going a little too fast for me. Sorry. Looper. Yeah, we can do Adobe. We did kind of do a quick Adobe here. So Adobe does have earnings coming out. Again, we did the little bit of the white box here. This is the overall move that's expected for the first deviation for the week. Again, looking for it to continue kind of printing higher on the 21. We can draw some make-believe lines, which is basically kind of here on its potential significant path. Again, these are just potential projections. Anything can happen. That being said, be mindful of that. Looking for, again, it hit an all-time high on Friday, so it's the RSI is not even near where high could be. So this could continue running higher due to a lot of people getting back to work. Things are kind of ramping up in different various aspects. Don't know what the overall story could be. That being said, it's just been holding the 21 very well on the ride higher, and then just slowly grinding in between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average with that overall momentum. It's just been a nice easy goer. Adam, what are your thoughts on MGM? So we can look at MGM again. We kind of covered that 2 or 3 times, but that's okay. It's been a very liked stock. So we kind of needed to break above this 21 and close above it. So that's going to be, so this 200, which is going to be around $23 for the momentum and the overall side of things to continue going higher. That being said, the 5 and 8 exponential moving average has been really propelling this higher for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've had multiple gap ups. So what I can see happening here, opening up tomorrow, we could open down slightly, get down to maybe $21 to $20 potentially here, and then the 5 or 8 kind of comes in for support, gives the MGM stock a nice hug, tell it loves them, and then kind of kicks it higher to get above that momentum again. It's going to be heavily tied to the overall market though as well. Let's see here. Sebastian, Space. So Space is one that is actually in my speculative portfolio. So I own some leaps in space. I wish SpaceX, or I wish that Starlink was a potential opportunity to buy. So I'm trying to buy the next big thing. I'm looking potentially at Northrop Grumman. They have some rockets. They bought Orbital company, but who knows? Like, I think this could be a very mixed bag here, though. Keeping on a very short leash. If it starts breaking below 15, I kind of have a trigger here at 14.28. If it starts breaking below that, I kind of have to downsize the position, just on the overall trend. Again, looking for this to kind of continue going, just trading sideways until some extra news comes out. With the 5 and 8 kind of below the 21, really don't like that. But again, it's a spec play, so I'm not looking at this every day. So potentially need the 5 and 8 to kind of start going positive and getting above the 21 to potentially get this momentum started. Again, but it's really holding that 15-day or the $15 price target around the 200 exponential moving average. The RSI is still below it, which is good, and the volume oscillator hasn't gone negative, and it looks like it's just kind of just trading sideways, taking a break. Oh, futures are red now, eh? I think they're gonna go red. But again, you have to remember that a lot of volume is not going to be coming in here at this time of day. There's not really any large market that's open right now. I think, when does Hong Kong? When does I think the Hong Kong market was up around 11, right? Hong Kong opens up from 9 to 9:30 from lunch. This doesn't help me. This just kind of gives me something. I can't Google right now while I'm on live stream. So be mindful of that, because again, I think it's at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, AM, that you'll see a lot of volume kick in. That's when the European markets open up. So you see a lot of influx. See a lot of people who do day trading of futures and things like that are usually very much early birds, and they're able to get in and trade those at that time. And I thank you everyone for joining. I hit 100+ viewers. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Schwab is a boomer's portfolio. I've been using Thinkorswim. This is the platform. I need to get sponsored by them for sure, don't I? Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that, man. Yes, 100 folks watching. This is awesome. Blue Boy, LO, my boss has Schwab wanted me to enter a trade for her. I really didn't like the interface. Your boss let you use her platform? Okay. That's 630.20. What does that mean? VIX up 0.75. Let's see here. Yeah, VIC. So doesn't mean that, again, everything's just nominal. That nothing is. I think there's going to be waiting for some more information to drop. Again, you're going to see a lot more action in the early morning hours once things are moving. Bobby, yeah, we can do BA again. So BA again was a huge price awareness of looking at the potential of what could happen. This has just moved up so much, again, with huge gap ups, being mindful of a potential kind of sit and wait and hold pattern for the 5 and 8 exponential moving average potentially to catch up and kind of just take a break. If that doesn't happen, we could see the first take a break to get a push higher, get the momentum to break 250, and then at the same time, if the overall market turns or something other catastrophe happens or some bamboozles or whatever, we can go lower to around the 21. Has been kind of a online support there as well. Bobby, BBIO. Oh, let's do Dan Miller. Sorry, the chat's going too fast. Is NAT. NAT. So this is one that we shorted way back when with the overall market, with being one of the larger FOMO trades that I've seen this last month or so, at least month and a half, where so many people were just dumping into the stock because they just wanted to make that quick buck, because they heard the story from a friend who told a friend who told a friend that oil's going to go negative again, and that those guys who get the futures contracts won't be able to find storage, and the only way to find storage is to buy a huge oil ship that holds 1 million barrels. No, I don't believe it works like that. I don't really care about that, honestly. I just care about that all those people believe that story, and I didn't believe that BS, lack of a better words, and I shorted it around $7.50, $8, and it came down quite substantially. Kind of broke the 21, kind of got out around 5, and then rest of it right below 5 as well. So it was quite substantial in the sense of continued going downtrend. It hasn't really broken this, so we need the 5 and 8 to kind of break below the 21. So we'll see how it trades tomorrow, because it looks like it's really trying to push higher here for a potential reversal, lack of a better words. Reversal meaning it could just peter out around 5.15 to 5.30 if it gets any legs behind it. What did I just do? BBIO, Bob, sorry. I'm getting distracted. There's just too many people pinging me. BBIO, Bridge Biopharma. Is this like an ETF? Is this a particular, just a overall company? It looks like, okay, so it looked like it failed at the 34 price target, which is 618. So this is kind of be, I kind of like it, honestly. It's kind of been beaten up. It's kind of holding the 21. It broke below 21. The 5 and 8 kind of crossed through the 21 as well, which is kind of a breaking of what all this happened in the past. Not meaning that it's going to be continued crashing lower, because the volume oscillator is trying to print higher. Same with the RSI. We just kind of need to see a little more volume come in. Potentially, if it can hold trade sideways and break above the $30 price target here tomorrow or this week, and kind of stop the bleeding here, lack of a better words, the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, start trading sideways and potentially see it curl up for another potential break higher, I think that would be a great little trade in there. Millennial Therapy, what do you think about AZUL? AZUL. I'm not sure what this does, but it's been, yikes, quite beat down. It looks like it has made a pretty strong recovery again. We've seen this literally 100 times already on the overall market. I'm not sure what this company does, but that being says that we could see a lot of volume coming in here. So this is kind of something strange. It looks like it's some kind of a holding company for something. I'm not sure, because it looks jumped from $45 literally down to $5. Bounced around, kind of had trouble breaking below above the 21. Finally did. Then now it's trading higher. I do like it, but I just don't know what the company does. I need to kind of give a better full picture understanding. Looking here strictly at the chart, we kind of need a break above the 1411, which was the previous high. But again, this has been a lot of momentum kicking higher. Being mindful of the RSI is trying to be getting to the overbought territory. But again, I'm kind of just throwing those to the sidelines just to the market. The overall market has just been printing so much higher. Thoughts on banks? Yeah, we can look at some banks. So what is the, is it XLF is the overall bank sector. So this has been actually another long-term hold for us, is the XLF. This is one we normally just trade some options in really far leaps. Looking for that potential break above that 200 exponential moving average has been fantastic. Next target, if the momentum is continued going higher, is around 28.30, and then the overall support, the first level of support, I'm not going to call it really strong support, is going to be the 200 exponential moving average, but then I'm going to kind of say needs to kind of potentially trade sideways and kind of wait for the 5 and 8 exponential moving average to kind of catch up for that, because these are huge moves in banks. Like, we're talking about banks, really boring, nothing too crazy innovative stuff. It's just we're talking about banks moving up substantially here, so this could be a very big sign for just trading sideways. Base God, yeah, I think nothing's too crazy. There's not much negative stuff. I think the overall news coverage, a lot of stuff has kind of switched to the overall protest rather than the overall virus. I won't be trading live. Oh my gosh, this went up. I won't be trading live tomorrow. Potentially could do a live stream in the afternoons on like a Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, if maybe around some earnings stuff or something like that. Thank you for the likes, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have any more questions? I see like quite a few rolling in. I need to probably figure out a better way to kind of... Oh, it's a Latin Airlines. Okay, I didn't know that. That's good to know. Look what AA did. Yeah, I think I agree. Like, it could easily do what AA does, but just be mindful of... doesn't mean that it has to. David D, thoughts on Apple now that it's hit a new high? Ugh, I know. I sold my Apple weeks ago and kind of regret that. But you live and you learn. This is clearly just pure strength here. Just absolutely lovely strength here in Apple. This company is just really just printing money. Again, hitting all-time highs. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do the previous swing high to swing low, and again we kind of broke that 100% move. So the next line in the sand is around the 127 expenditure move. That's going to be around 153 for price target going higher. Again, it's literally pretty obvious here on what the trend is here. It's still really just been running up this 21, really not really touching it, even asking for support. It doesn't need any hugs. It's just been doing very well. And then the 5 and 8 has just been really just been pushing this substantially higher. I like that. I'm actually going to add that to my list, that AZUN. I'm going to see on how liquid that options market is, and we might look at that for some plays. MFA. What's MFA? Let's look at MFA. That sounds familiar. I think this is something that someone posted this about some financials the other day, last live stream. Yeah, it looks... it's I don't even know. This has just been a very strong move higher. Again, we can do a quick fib here. I don't think it's going to be hit the 50% retracement. Yeah, looks like the 50% retracement is around $4.12 there. Again, it kind of failed at the 38.2 and just kind of closed lower. But again, that's a huge gap up. A huge gap up. It could just be potentially trading sideways. Again, trying to wait for the 5 and 8 exponential moving average to kind of go through and continue to print higher. Alex, what do you think about BA? BA has again had a large move. Again, looking for potentially 250, but I could see it trading sideways for some time. Could you look at work, Bob? We kind of did work. We actually did trade it just for an earnings play, playing it really small. It's been holding the 34. We kind of needed to continue holding that, so it's around $30 to $31. I just don't like the 5 and 8 exponential moving average kind of curling down, and the 21s kind of just flatten out with the RSI and volume oscillator slamming into the ground. That could be a kind of a turnaround and people just getting out of this stock, because we've had a pretty large volume of that stock the previous after earnings kind of just trade hands, so just be very mindful of that. Oh, MFA is 70% dividends. Roberts R. Rick, is that a stock? RCI Hospitality Holdings. Not sure what this holds, but they hold hospitality. Kind of the same stuff we just talked about. Again, a lot of stocks are breaking above its 200-day exponential moving average to try to print higher. The first line in the sand, I like that it's did not close below the 50% retracement, potentially move to around $20 potentially if it can hold that 50% retracement, and some of those moving averages are catching up. I do like that the RSI has not been overbought yet, so be mindful of that. Alex, just be mindful of BA. Like, again, there's no crystal ball. Anything can happen. If the big headwind for BA right now is looking for them getting approved by the what is it, FAA or Federal Aviation, so I don't know, whatever they are called, to get approved to potentially fly their new jets. I'm going to do two more, my folks. They're strip clubs? Are you serious, Rick? That's hilarious. I didn't even know that was a thing. That is hilarious. If that's true. EOG, oh, I used to trade this so much back in the day when it was like 150. What is this? Yeah, 130-ish. This has just been kind of a, lack of better words, just a downward trend. It is trying to recover. I'm taking a drink of water. Looking for overhead support, overhead resistance here at the 200-day. Again, it made a gap up. We're talking about an energy resource company. This is a pretty big move for it. Potentially waiting for the 5 and 8 to kind of catch up with that. Hertz is about NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, even after its last earnings, it's kind of just been trading blah. I think due to the fact of everyone just trying to get sideswiped and just chasing the light and other fancy colored stocks. This could be, I like to see it kind of get closer. It's the parabolic SAR, it's trying to break above it. So once these purple dots switch to the bottom of it, this looks like it potentially could be going higher. I like that it's trying to hold the 21 here, still hasn't broken below it, hasn't closed below it, it has broken before it, but the 21 has come in for support quite a bit. I wouldn't go out and to start buying this hand over fist, but this is a potential opportunity if the parabolic oscillators are switching, still trading between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average to go higher. Robert's just on out of my morals. I couldn't own a strip club. My bad. I'm sorry. I have puts on Apple. Should I pull it out? What's your game plan? Did you have a plan on going in? Did you have a price target if something crashed or got to a certain price tag you'd get out? Just be mindful of that. I can't tell you on what your threshold is. Run forever 262 88 all-time high. Any chance of them break? Well, the funny thing you say about Home Depot, I literally went there on Saturday to pick up some supplies. I was refixing my hose bib out back, and it was, the parking lot was so packed I could not park anywhere. Like, there was no parking spots. So, I'm not saying that's the reason it's going higher, but the gardening season or the springtime season is literally Home Depot's holiday season or their money-making season. So they're selling those bushes, they're selling those plants, they're selling those garden tools, they're selling that mulch, and they're just racking in that money. That being said, we can do a quick fib here from the swing high to swing low. Again, breaking that 100 percentile move, kind of waiting for that 274 potentially price target in mind. Again, the picture just tells it's a whole story. It's been trading between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average to continue going higher. What do you think about long-term cloud ETF? Yeah, I love cloud stuff, without a doubt. Johnny Bravo, I had to run out for smokes, but I'm still listening on mobile. Heard someone ask about banks. Look into PBCT and HBCN for both have great dividends, yield, and growth. Should be a draw and big buyers. Okay. They never pulled their dividends, yeah. You're welcome about NVIDIA. I will subscribe just because of that. Thanks, because I answered your question. I tried to answer everyone's question. I need to probably submit like some kind of like a tool where people can submit a question, because the chat, normally don't have 100 people in the live stream. We usually have, I don't know, 30, 40 people, and it's kind of easy to follow everything. I haven't tried those new I know Ikamuchu's clouds, yeah. Robert Kim XSPA play for Mar. What is that? Is that the inverse of something? If I can type, doesn't type. Holy moly guacamole! What the hell is this? I don't know what this company does. I have no comment on that, Robert. Robert Kim. You must know something I don't know, because this is very overbought. This is very overbought. Yes. It's hard for me. I don't even know what this company does, but it didn't look like it was great before the pandemic, and it's just flying higher. I don't know what they do. So, Bob. We're going to do 3 more. We'll do Crazy 97 CCL. Yes, we can do some cruise lines. We didn't really actually get to that. That's sad. So cruise lines, again, same with the shipping, or the airline companies, has been on a rocket ship, looking for CCL, which is actually one of the lower performing ones, but it's the one that I hear about the most. Like Norwegian has been performing better. I think CCL's only been up like 90%, and Norwegian and Royal Caribbean have been above 105, 110. That being said, be mindful of this. This has been a pretty large run for this company. I think that there's still probably some room in the tank for potential kick higher. This is just basically somewhat uncharted territory, looking for it's unknown territory. Like, this has been just a huge gaps up. It's kind of getting close to the RSI oversold, overbought, which is an indication where it could just continue trading sideways and then just kind of waiting for the explosive moving average coming higher, or it can kind of just cut back this in half and trading around $19 and waiting for next push higher. Things just don't rocket up like this. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I think it'll get to 30, but I just don't know when. You're long on CCL. I might do some speculative stuff in there. Who knows? Trying esports companies. XPS is adding code. Thanks, Ryan. AS is airline entertainment. Lots of airports, bro. Okay, then we're gonna look at LTM Claw. Latin Airlines Group. Okay, this is weird. This is an airline company, or is this an ETF? I'm not familiar with the Latin stuff. Yeah, this is a. Eek. It's weird that it really didn't really break out there. Here on the kind of zooming in here, it needs to kind of break above this 21. It's below it. The 5 and 8 needs to start crossing through the 21. This could be a bet of a lifetime if you're betting on this, unless there's something else going on with the company I don't know. If it's a pure airline play, it theoretically should be going higher with everyone else, but there could be some underlying pressures going on here because it's not even above the 21. So, but again, it is a $2 stock, so I don't know how people view on that. And then Poison says DAL. We can do that one, my friend. DAL, which is Delta, was one of my favorites. has been pretty much going higher as well. Looking for that 41 to 42 price target in mind. Again, with this overall large movement and the overall very high momentum that's been going up the last 2 days, literally going up almost in a 87-degree angle here. It can't be 90 because the days are separating it, so I'm going to call it like an 87-degree angle, potentially seeing for a kind of a calm down pattern. I think that depending on what happens tomorrow, we could see a kick higher due to the fact of a lot of people hitting that fear of missing out. Oh, I read these 3 articles this weekend and I need to open up my Robinhood account and it takes 3 or 4 days to get funded so I can put in money into jets or the different airlines companies and so forth. But that's just my generic, very plain look at some of the particular trades that I'm seeing and going on out there. Be mindful of that, but looking for, again, the 50% retracement and the 50% retracement, and then also the 200-day, looking around that 40 to 41 price target. If it can go higher, then downward support. It's going to basically kind of come in between the 8 and the 5, so we're looking around $30 potentially if it just comes down, and then your really main level support around 25, 26 if that fails as well. So be mindful of that, my friend. Alex, SPY 330 end of week. No, I don't know. Anything can happen, right? SPY 330. So we're at 320. Maybe. Who knows? I kind of have that target out there for potential to get that. Vincent says NKLA. Yeah, we could look at that. NKLA. So there's nothing much really to look at because this is all I got. I think this one is it's got a question mark for me. So we did trade VTIQ quite a bit on the run up. We bought it around 12 to 15 and run up to like 30 or whatever it was, and we got out. We didn't hold for the merger. There is some questions regarding around the liquidity and then the overall intent of the overall people who are buying Nikola Motors. That being said, there's nothing much charting information I can show you here because there's not much to show. I have very low amount of bars here. If you're in it, you're in it. Nothing really to show here. Like if you're trading it, it looks like it's trying to break out on the 15-minute chart. Again, we only have literally 2 days of trading. Let me zoom in here. Why is this? There we go. Why is this all weird like that? I hate when new stocks come out. It's all weird like this. It looks like it's trying to break higher again with the overall squeeze coming into play. RSI and volume oscillator with new volume coming in, potentially breaking. Let's go here, then we'll do an hour. Potentially looking for a swing high, swing low. Oh, did it click please? There we go. Looking for first initial price target around 36.50. Do that. And then support again is going to be around the very low level up to 21, which is around 35. And then if it goes above the 36, we're looking at the 37.50 there. So that being said, looking there again, downward support is going to be looking around the 35 to 34 level, potentially looking at 34.50 for if you're just trading it and keeping on a very short leash. That's what I would do. Steve-O, what moving averages I'm using? I'm using the 5, 8, 21, 34, and 200 exponential moving average, and then I throw a 50-day simple moving average. Lance Bolton. What are your thoughts on Grub? GRUB. So are they? Did they come out with anything about that? I know that Uber tried to buy them with all stock, but would that ever go through, or what were they doing that? I bought 125 contracts at 75 strike price. Okay, so you're making a pretty substantial bet here. That's kind of far out there. I hope that you're not betting this is going to happen this Friday. There, because it looks like it's quite a far out there. That's going to be a long ways out bet. That being said, the all-time high in the stock looks like it's been around 80. Looking for a swing high to swing low. It kind of failed here multiple times. So once here at $60. So it really needs to break above this. So this is going to be some really strong overhead resistance. Normally, it's a two-tapper, and then potentially with momentum coming in, it can kind of break higher. We do see that the parabolic SAR has just switched on the daily chart to the bottom, which is good, could be a sign of a potential kick higher. The RSI and volume oscillator is going to be kind of stagnant, which is also kind of helping it, trading sideways or potential kick higher. Let me get all these lines away for you a second. Again, it needs to really break that 61-ish price target. Again, downward support is going to be around 55 to 52.50 if it does come back down, because the 21 has been coming in quite a lot here to kind of hold this stock in place for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Oh, it was a potential buyout? I thought it was the... Okay, interesting. All right, let me do reviewyu.com. Not sure if you covered it. We can do this. We have, but we can do it again for you. Oh, that DKing. DKNG. So this one has been trading sideways. So you have the calls expiring on the 2nd. That is not giving yourself that much time. That being said, the $50 price target is kind of high up there, so we can kind of look at that here. So you're going to say in the 2nd, there is going to be probably some options. Looks like it's like a 23% chance as close of Friday for that happening. Just be mindful of that. Again, this has been kind of a hot trend stock, and we're kind of really waiting on to see on more of the sports coming back on, and I think that this can just kind of just trade sideways for the time being before it kind of kicks higher, because a lot of money and a lot of new investors are really throwing their money into airlines and Hertz and yoga pants. I don't know, I've talked about yoga pants so much this session. But that being said, yeah, trading sideways, you can kind of see my markers here. It needs to really break above 45, and then kind of the 21 coming in for support if it does come down to this level. But again, this is a newer IPO stock, and this usually can move quite rapidly in the downward momentum and projections, or if it does start failing, it can go down really fast. So just kind of be mindful of that and keep it on a short leash if you don't want to lose money, or if you're just trading it. Guys, on that note, I'm about to lose my voice. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Ryan, for buying me a coffees. Really do appreciate it. And we'll do more of these live streams. It looks like people really do enjoy them. We'll try to do this. Again, we do this every Sunday. Maybe do some more during the week for some folks that are not able to join. Thoughts on TNA? Okay, I'll get you, my friend. Let's look at TNA. Then we'll call it. I keep on saying that. I think I said I want to call it 3 or 4 times, but I keep on going it. Oh, it's a 3 times trading small cap stocks. Yeah, it looks like every other thing that we kind of looked at today, where it's just been kind of slowly riding higher with the 5 and 8 exponential moving average. Again, I'm not a large fan of these 3x movers or these ETFs. I think people get too trapped in them. They're more for vehicles, I believe, for trading and hedging rather than just a super long-term investment. and so forth, because they kind of potentially could lose money. Guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Andrew, Docu, thank you on your great. Thank you. Let's go. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. We can do Docu. I'll do that. I think you asked for that. So Docu. Again, it's kind of been holding the 21 that we talked about it. Again, this has been a overall work from home pandemic stock that is just trading with the overall market. Kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes on what was available. Like, oh, I never have to go into sign my papers for whatever they can just send it to me via an email and just click a couple buttons and check a box, and I'm bada bing, bada bang, I got my document signed. It's kind of people kind of saw the future. The genie's out of the bottle. You're not putting it back in. I think that this is not overvalued. It is kind of on the overall overbought side of things. I think it's a great run company, but that it could potentially going lower. It has been holding the 21, but I see that it's potentially could just be trading sideways with the overall stuff just kind of being dropped and so forth. All right, guys. Let's just clearing up a couple things here. What's Chad supporting this lecture? Let's go. What does that mean? What's Chad mean? Am I confused here? Am I missing something? In 22, I'm at Chad. I'm missing something. Rob, I kind of did AAL and UAL, but I kind of did the. I can't go. I've got to help you out here. So AAL again, it did break the 21 or the 200-day exponential moving average, but it kind of sold off with this huge gap up, and so many new folks jumping in here with the overall just continuous FOMO and the so much volume going here. I could see this kind of trading in around the $20 price target or the higher teens for some time until it gets enough momentum for another kick higher. Oh, it's a cult? Rock, thoughts on ILMN? Well, I'm 30. What am I? 30. I'm 32, so I'm not a Chad. Am I a Vic? ILMN. So this is a company that does the genome sequencing, right? Yeah, I want to do something like that, Bravo, where if you email, or we're going to have to figure out something else to kind of do, let folks kind of join in and do those questions, because I really want to make sure I answer those questions. So this is going to be the last one I'm looking at, because I'm going to continue just going all night and just trade familiar fan club name is Chad's. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. So I need to call my chat something so I can call you guys. Okay, I'll think of something. I see. Alright, so that's the looking for. Okay, so this one here, I think this is the genome sequencing one, right? This sounds familiar. So this looks like looks like it's trying to head lower. Again, not many people are really caring about this due to the factors of Hertz going out of business and then buying that $2 stock. Looking for a potential support here initially at the 21, because the 5 and 8 are starting to curl over. The parabolic SR are above. RSI and volume oscillator kind of going lower. Momentum is the darker blue, which is kind of be curving lower, potentially looking for 21 around 346, potentially for first line of support, because it has come in multiple times as we've been going higher. So be mindful of that. Alright guys, I'm going to call it on that. It's been a very long one. This is the longest live stream that we've done. I'm losing my voice here. Again, I greatly appreciate everyone coming out. Don't forget to join for the, I can't even speak now. Just my voice is totally gone. We have a fantastic Discord. I try to check it out most of the times for questions. What I'll do most of the times if people ask questions, I'll kind of prompt in, kind of give a quick screenshot of a chart if they have questions about it, kind of give you initial level 1 support and level 1 resistance and kind of the thoughts on that. Again, guys, thank you so much for the ongoing support. I could stay up for the 2 hours talking about charts, but I kind of have a long day tomorrow already booked. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.